Saint Gióng. Once upon a time, during the reign of the 16th Hung King, in a small village named Gióng, there lived an elderly couple who were kind-hearted and hard-working. Although they led a poor and humble life, they loved each other deeply and treated others with kindness and honesty. Despite their old age, they had not been blessed with a child, which brought them much sorrow and longing day after day. One afternoon, while walking home from the fields, the wife happened to see an unusually large footprint imprinted on the ground. Out of curiosity, she placed her foot inside the giant print. Unexpectedly, after that day, she became pregnant in a miraculous way. Even more strangely, the pregnancy lasted for a full 12 months. When it was finally time to give birth, she delivered a healthy, handsome baby boy. However, during the first 3 years of his life, the boy never spoke, never smiled, and remained completely still, unlike other children. Then one day, a northern enemy known as the An Army invaded the land, bringing suffering and destruction to the people. Faced with such danger, the king sent royal messengers across the kingdom in search of someone who could help save the nation. When the sound of the royal announcement reached Gióng village, something miraculous happened. The 3-year-old boy, who had never uttered a word before, suddenly spoke for the first time. He turned to his parents and boldly declared, "Mother, please invite the royal messenger in. I want to go to battle and defeat the enemy to save our country." Following their son's request, the parents quickly invited the messenger into their home. The boy asked the messenger to report to the king and request 3 special items: an iron horse, an iron suit of armor, and an iron rod. From that day forward, the boy began to eat at an astonishing rate, as much as 3 grown men combined. Day by day, he grew rapidly. In a short time, he stretched once and transformed into a mighty warrior, towering and majestic, ready to march to war and defend the nation. Once everything was ready, the warrior Gióng donned his iron armor, mounted the iron horse, and galloped into battle. Holding the iron rod in his hand, Gióng charged into the enemy lines, fearlessly breaking through wave after wave of invaders. The thunder of his horse's hooves echoed through the land, and his shining armor glowed like the sun in the heart of the battlefield. In the heat of the fierce battle, the iron rod suddenly broke. But without hesitation, Gióng quickly pulled up a bamboo cluster from the roadside and used it as a new weapon. In his hands, the ordinary bamboo became a powerful force, helping him continue to sweep away the enemy. Once the An army was completely defeated and peace returned to the land, Gióng did not go back to his village. Instead, he rode his iron horse up to the top of a mountain, and from there soared straight into the sky, becoming immortal. To remember and honor his great deeds, the people of his village built a temple at his birthplace and worshipped him as Saint Gióng, the legendary hero who saved the nation with his strength, wisdom, and extraordinary patriotism. Once upon a time, in a certain village, there lived an old poor couple who toiled all year round, working as hired hands for the rich landlord. Though their hair had turned gray with age, they still had no child of their own, and they spent each day in sorrow, longing for a child to keep them company and rely on in their old age. One day, the old woman went into the forest to gather firewood. That day, the sun was scorching hot, and her throat was parched, yet she could find no water anywhere. By chance, at the foot of a tree, she saw a coconut shell filled with clear rainwater. Too thirsty to think twice, she picked up the shell and drank it all in one gulp to quench her thirst. Not long after, the old woman gave birth to a child like no other. The baby had no arms, no legs, and a round body like a coconut. Seeing such a strange child, she was terrified and thought of abandoning it to be rid of her shame. But the baby cried and pleaded, begging his mother not to throw him away, but to keep and raise him, and to name him Coconut Shell. Out of love for her child, the old woman decided to keep him, caring for him tenderly day by day. As he grew, Coconut Shell proved to be obedient and understanding. He loved his mother deeply, knowing how hard she worked to care for him. Seeing his mother struggle alone, Coconut Shell asked her to let him herd the landlord's cows to earn some wages and help lighten her burden. Every day, Coconut Shell drove the herd out to the fields, diligently tending them, so not a single cow was lost. When all the servants were busy with other chores, the landlord ordered his 3 daughters to take turns bringing food out to the fields for Coconut Shell. The 2 elder sisters were proud and haughty, always mocking and looking down on Coconut Shell for his ugly, strange shape. Only the youngest sister was gentle and kind. Whenever she brought him food, she was warm and caring, never saying a harsh word. One day, the youngest sister accidentally saw Coconut Shell transform into a handsome, well-built young man with a bright, noble face. But as soon as he heard a sound, he quickly changed back into his round, strange form as before. From that day on, the youngest sister secretly grew fond of Coconut Shell, keeping in her heart a deep affection for the kind cowherd who hid a mystery within. Once he knew the youngest sister loved him, Coconut Shell urged his old mother to go to the landlord's house and ask for the girl's hand in marriage. When the 2 elder sisters heard this, they were furious and scornful, sneering and mocking him without restraint. But the youngest sister, who already knew his true heart and hidden form, agreed without hesitation to become his wife. On the wedding day, Coconut Shell revealed his true form as a handsome, noble young man dressed in fine clothes. Seeing this, the 2 elder sisters were filled with regret and envy, but could do nothing but watch in bitterness. Not long after, Coconut Shell passed the royal exams, became a top scholar, and was trusted by the king to be sent abroad as an envoy. Sensing the ill will of the 2 elder sisters, he gave his wife a flint stone, 2 eggs, and a knife, instructing her to keep them close to guard against disaster while he was away. As he had foreseen, the 2 wicked sisters, taking advantage of the youngest sister being alone at home, plotted to harm her. They lured her out to the seashore and secretly pushed her into the water, hoping to seize everything she had and take her place as the scholar's wife. But remembering her husband's words, the youngest sister brought with her the flint stone, the 2 eggs, and the knife. Thanks to these items, she escaped death, clinging to a drifting log as she floated helplessly at sea. Just at that moment, Coconut Shell was returning from his journey abroad. Spotting his wife in the waves, he ordered his men to rescue her and bring her safely back home. Husband and wife were reunited in great joy. Thanks to heaven's blessing, Coconut Shell and his wife overcame their ordeal at last. From then on, he cherished and treasured his gentle, virtuous wife even more. They lived together in warmth and happiness, richly rewarded by the king for his talents and faithful service. As for the 2 wicked sisters, once their evil deeds were exposed, the villagers despised them and their family felt deep shame. They had no choice but to flee far away, never daring to return to their ancestral village again. The tale of Coconut Shell has since been passed down through generations, reminding people that those who live kindly will meet good fortune, while those who do evil will surely meet their downfall. Thạch Sanh. Once upon a time, in a village far away, there lived a young man named Thạch Sanh, born into a poor family. His parents passed away early, leaving him an orphan, living alone under the shade of an old banyan tree at the edge of the forest, cutting wood every day to make a living. Though poor, Thạch Sanh was strong and healthy, honest by nature, and kind-hearted. Heaven blessed him with extraordinary strength, so everyone in the village loved and admired him. One day, a man named Lai Thong, a cunning winemaker, passed by and saw Thạch Sanh's gentle nature, so he thought of using him. He pretended to make friends, sweet-talking him, inviting him to become sworn brothers, then brought Thạch Sanh to live with his mother and him so it would be easier to control him. Thạch Sanh, being sincere, saw that Lai Thong seemed kind and had an old mother to care for, so he gladly moved in with them. At that time, in the region, there was a fierce ogre that often captured people to eat. Terrified, the villagers built a shrine and had to offer it one person each year to live in peace. That year, it was Lai Thong's turn to sacrifice himself. Afraid to die, he devised a plan to trick Thạch Sanh to go instead. He pretended to cry and beg Thạch Sanh for help. Thạch Sanh, feeling sorry for his sworn brother, did not suspect a thing and agreed to go in his place. That night, Thak Sanh went to the shrine to keep watch. At midnight, the ogre appeared, its eyes red like burning coals, its mouth breathing fire. But Thak Sanh was not afraid. He drew his bow and arrows and swung his axe in a fierce battle. After a long fight, the ogre fell, and Thak Sanh cut off its head, saving the villagers from their fear. Hearing this, Li Tong secretly took the ogre's head to the king, claiming the victory as his own. The king believed him and made Li Tong an admiral, rewarding him with glory and riches. Not long after, Princess Queen Nga, the beloved daughter of the king, was suddenly captured by an evil eagle and carried away. The king was heartbroken and decreed that whoever could find the princess would marry her and inherit the throne. Cowardly Li Tong did not dare to go search. That day, Thak Sanh was chopping wood under the banyan tree when he saw the eagle flying by, carrying the princess. Thak Sanh quickly drew his bow and shot the eagle's wing, then followed the trail of blood to its hidden lair. Knowing this, Li Tong pretended to run over and tricked Thak Sanh into going down into the cave to save the princess, while he himself waited above. Thak Sanh went into the cave, fought fiercely with the eagle, killed the beast, and rescued the princess. He tied a rope to lift the princess up first, but as soon as she was out of the cave, Li Tong ordered his soldiers to bury the entrance with stones, trapping Thak Sanh deep underground to steal the credit once more. Stuck in the dark cave, Thak Sanh wandered around and met the Prince of the Sea King, who had also been imprisoned there for a long time. Thak Sanh defeated the remaining monsters and freed the prince. To repay him, the prince invited Thak Sanh to the underwater palace for a grand feast, gave him a magical lute, and then brought him back to dry land. But the ogres and eagles' spirits, unable to rest, stole the king's treasures and hid them in Thak Sanh's house to frame him. The court imprisoned Thak Sanh wrongfully. In prison, Thak Sanh did not complain, but took out the magical lute and played. The sorrowful tune echoed throughout the royal palace. Hearing the music, Princess Queen Nga remembered the past, regained her voice, and told the whole truth to her father, the king. The king, enraged, ordered Li Tong and his mother to be jailed. Kind-hearted Thak Sanh begged for their lives to be spared. But heaven does not forgive evil. On their way home, Li Tong and his mother were struck by lightning, turning into dung beetles, crawling and hiding in shame forever. The king kept his promise and gave Princess Queen Nga's hand to Thak Sanh. The wedding was grand and joyful throughout the capital. But the princes of 18 neighboring kingdoms, once rejected by the princess, were furious and raised armies to attack. Thak Sanh did not fear them, calmly playing his magical lute. The melody made the enemy soldiers homesick for their wives and children, causing them to disband on their own. Before they left, Thak Sanh hosted a feast with his endless rice pot. No matter how much they ate, the rice never ran out. All were impressed and never dared to cause trouble again. Finally, Thak Sanh was crowned king. He abolished taxes, encouraged the people to farm and raise livestock, and everyone lived well. The country was peaceful, the people content, and every household was happy. From then on, the story of Thak Sanh was passed down through generations, reminding all that those who live kindly will meet good fortune, while the wicked will surely face ruin.